At Pocono Raceway, we've seen crazy accidents, high speeds, and road rage. But I'm here to tell you about one of the weirdest endings to ever happen at this track. And I thought, since we heard the news about Jeff Gordon moving from Fox Sports booth to the vice chairman of Hendrick Motorsports, that I would tell you about how he got his 86th victory in the Pennsylvania 400 at the Pocono Raceway. So before this race, during the 2012 season, Jeff Gordon was in a battle to get into the chase so he can go for his fifth title. During the regular season, Jeff Gordon struggled in the first 20 races, only getting 7 top 10s, 3 top 5s, and only leading 404 laps, with no wins at this point, and stuck in 15th in points. Jeff Gordon would need a win to clinch one of the final two spots in the chase to make it in. Meanwhile, teammates Jimmy Johnson, Casey Kane, and Dale Jr. already had victories for this race and were solidified in the top 10 in points. Jeff Gordon was the low man out, but he would soon be erasing that zero from the stat book in a few hours from now. Pocono on this day was having very bad weather. Rain delayed the race a whole hour, but the racing had finally began. The weather was still near or coming to the track. Gordon to start the race was in the mid pack because of a bad qualifying lap. Juan Pablo Montoya led the field to the green flag and led the first 8 laps, but was passed up by Denny Hamlin. Then Dale Earnhardt passed Hamlin up a few laps later. Jeff Gordon had made it up to 19th place at this point through the first 10 laps. At lap 19, Kyle Busch wrecked, causing the first caution of the race because of a tire failure. During the caution, most teams chose to only take 2 tires because of strategy. 3 cars decided to not pit, which caused a crazy opening restart on lap 22. Jeff Gordon was steadily gaining positions, getting up to 14th at lap 30. Dale Jr. had regained the lead after Brad Keselowski had to pit for fuel because he had stayed out during the first caution. But Jimmy Johnson was hot on Jr.'s tail, taking the lead on lap 40. During the race at this point, we've only seen 6 lead changes, and it was very contested racing at this point. But then on lap 50, after green flag pit stops, Dale Earnhardt Jr., one of the top contenders to win the race, was taken out of the race because of a transmission issue. Jr. would get back onto the track about 20 or 30 laps later, but would be out of contention. With the caution on lap 19, it caused for teams to go on different field strategies. We would see drivers like Kurt Busch lead laps because of this strategy, but then after a few laps, Jimmy Johnson would take the lead again, and on the broadcast, we begin to hear about the worry about rain coming and when it was coming. In NASCAR, they have a rule about rain or delayed races, and that if the race is halfway through and the weather comes and delays it, and it has to be delayed maybe a whole day, but you're already halfway through the race, NASCAR has the power just to call the race, and just whoever finished at those positions would stay in those positions, and they just base the points off of that. And at Pocono Raceway, they have it is still during the summer, so you can get through. So you can finish the race at around 7 o'clock at night, and there's still be enough daylight out. But the track had no lights. Teams are starting to get prepared for these different situations to happen. So multiple cars begin short pitting in case of the rain coming. By this time at lap 68, when we're getting all this news about the incoming rain, Jeff Gordon has finally made it up to 5th place in the race. And on the 24 radio, they said that they were good till around lap 8, the halfway point of this race. And then on lap 77, the leaders begin to pit, starting with Jimmy Johnson taking 4 tires and fuel. And then a few laps later, we see Jeff Gordon come in and take 4 tires in field 2. This would be a very important call at the end of the race because of when this rain was coming and how it would affect the race. But then coming out of a commercial break, you begin to see that it's getting more cloudy. But we're past the halfway point where the race had to make it to lap 8 because it's a 160 lap race. So at any point, if it starts raining, NASCAR can just call the race. But then at lap 84, we hear drivers on the radio being told by their crew chiefs to start saving fuel because the rain is only about 20 to 30 minutes away from the track. And then on lap 86, Kurt Busch wrecks. This would cause the second caution of the race to be thrown, and this would change the race because Jimmy Johnson had a huge lead coming out of pit stops, and this would condense the whole field on the restart and put everybody back together. Teams are looking at the radar to see when this rain is coming and if it's a smart idea right now to pit, so that way you make sure you have enough fuel for when the rain gets here. But under the caution during the pit stops, only a few cars come in and the rest of the field stays out. This is probably because most of the teams think the rain will be at the track in the next 10 to 15 minutes. But coming to the restart on lap 91 of 160, the leaders were on slightly worn tires. Jimmy Johnson is first on the inside as the leader / control car. Matt Kenseth is second place, but the first one in the outside lane. Then Brad Keselowski is in third place, second row inside. Greg Biffle is behind Matt Kenseth in fourth place. Casey Kane is in fifth place behind Jimmy Johnson and Brad Keselowski. Jeff Gordon is starting in sixth place behind Matt Kenseth and Greg Biffle on the outside in the red car. And the reason why I'm telling you all of this is because of what is about to unfold in front of you on this next restart.
Be it, and that's how you have to race right now. And we're going to see these drivers give everything they've got to try to take that top spot.
Jimmy Johnson and Matt Kenseth, side by side on the front row. Brad Keselowski and Greg Biffle, Casey Kane and Jeff Gordon. Remember this long straightaway and that big, crazy turn 1 on restarts at Pocono. Trouble! Kenseth in the wall, Biffle in the wall, Kenseth spins into the pack. Denny Hamlin.
Was wondering going down in that corner, how close was Kenseth going to try to get over onto Jimmy Johnson to try to take advantage, get him a little bit free. Johnson got extremely loose. Denny Hamlin with the worst of this and just an innocent bystander.
So the race for the lead into turn 1. I believe the word I used just before the restart was crazy turn 1.
Yeah, crazy. And we knew they were going to be racing like it was the last lap.
Yeah,
it may have been because I don't know that we'll get back under green.
And who was leading when the caution came out here? Jeff Gordon's the one that's out front right now, but we'll have to see about this.
And yes, the leader is Jeff Gordon.
Wow, are his fortunes turning here?
Wow, how big would that be? Race isn't over yet.
So Jeff Gordon went from sixth place to the lead in one turn because of Jimmy Johnson getting loose into turn 1 and collects the top 4 with him. And Jeff Gordon getting a run off the outside, getting into the inside in front of the Casey Kane. So he got up to 5th place and then got past the top 4 to take the lead when the caution went out because the top 4 were wrecking the outside lane. And then right after this, and then after a few minutes when the cars are doing pace laps around the track, we start hearing news about the rain is falling on the track. As a Jeff Gordon fan at this point watching this race, I was just freaking out, jumping and ecstatic because before this race, It was hard to watch Jeff. He was struggling so hard, and now finally we can see something good happen this season with him after his very bad struggles in the beginning of the season. But NASCAR takes the field, puts them in the pit road, everybody covers up their cars, and then we see on the broadcast that it is downpouring on the track. The track looks flooded mostly after like 10 minutes of rain. So then finally we hear the call from NASCAR to call the race.
As we sit here with that lightning pounding down and the rain pouring down, NASCAR has just made the race official, I am being told, and Jeff Gordon is going to get that elusive first win of this season. I don't know if you've ever, I can't recall off the top of my head this quickly, if you ever kind of stole one in the rain or by circumstances, but he's got nothing to apologize for to anybody.
No, you have to get yourself in that position. He did a great job of driving up there and getting himself in position to take advantage of this. He's lost plenty this year, so it's time for him to get something good happening.
Well, everybody saw the rain coming. Everybody had
But with this win, it gave Jeff Gordon a good chance of making the chase. And with the momentum he did from this race win, making the chase and finished 10th in the point standings at the end of the season. And it was all thanks to the luck of a starting position on that final Pocono restart and Mother Nature coming just in time to stop the race. And this would also snap Gordon's 31 race winless streak. But with that, I'm going to end the video. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this. But with that, make sure to stay classy and have a great weekend, everybody.